Have you ever pondered the relationship between sin and success? There's a common misconception that equates success, particularly financial success, with sin or worldliness. But is this really the case? Let's look at the broader picture. If we paint success with a broad stroke of sinfulness, are we not undermining the very essence of what it means to strive, to grow, and to achieve? If success is seen as a sin, then what target are we suggesting people should aim for? Should they make it their goal to fail? Should they be taught to adopt an attitude that lacks any concern for productivity or effectiveness? Surely these are not the ideals we should be promoting. At its core, success is the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. It's about hitting the mark. And sin, on the other hand, is often defined as missing the mark. So, if we follow this line of thought, wouldn't success be the opposite of sin? What if the aim was to live a righteous life? Would hitting that target be considered a sin? Of course not. The point here is to challenge the notion that success and sinfulness are inherently linked. Success, in its truest form, is about striving towards a goal, achieving it, and going from one level to the next, growing as individuals in the process. It's about hitting the mark, not missing it. So, if success is hitting the mark and sin is missing it, why is success so often preached against as though it is sin? Now, let's zoom in and look at it from a practical standpoint. Every Christian I know needs to pay bills. Every Christian I know would likely return thanks to God for the good things that He provides for us to enjoy, and every Christian I know could do more good in the world if they had more financial resources. So, is it fair to label success and the financial stability it brings as a sin? This is a question that challenges our perception of success in a Christian context. Often, preaching can discourage success, painting it with a broad brush as a manifestation of worldliness or sin. But such generalizations can inadvertently discourage the positive values, ethics, and the growth mindsets we all need. The danger lies in the lack of precision. The Word of God isn't like a shotgun, instead it needs precision in its use. It should be handled more like the instruments of a skilled surgeon. When we speak of sin, we must be careful to discern between the precise thing we want to discourage and the positive things surrounding it, things that need careful protection. We must remember that the pursuit of a well-lived life, a successful life in accordance with God's principles, is a noble endeavor. According to Philippians, when we follow good examples and think about things that are honorable and praiseworthy, we can have a closer walk with God and enjoy more peace in our lives. We've looked at the idea of success. Now we'll take a moment to think about another thing that's often preached against: power. Let's explore the concept of power. To start with, consider the dichotomy of power and powerlessness. It's true that power can corrupt, and those lacking in character and compassion can misuse it and cause harm. But let's flip the coin. Powerlessness, on the other hand, can leave even the most virtuous person unable to stand up for their beliefs, to defend the vulnerable, and to care for those who are needing to depend on them. Being constructive rather than destructive is what we aim to be in society. Is it not? Imagine power as a tool like a hammer. In the wrong hands, a hammer can destroy, but in the right hands it can build up. In the right hands it can create homes and shelters for those who need them most. The Bible itself speaks of God giving us a spirit, not of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. As a river needs banks to flow, so does power need the guidance of love and wisdom. As Christians, we should not be powerless. We should be the right hands using what we're given to make a positive impact. And sometimes, sermons can make us wonder if the church is opposed to well-being and effectiveness, or if they just don't realize the implications of some of the things they're saying. It's a harsh question, yet it's one that arises when we see the church potentially undermining values. Values like resilience, perseverance, and courage. These are the values that fuel the positive actions needed to meet life's demands. Does the church understand the real-world implications of undermining these? Do they understand the everyday struggle to fulfill one's commitments, take care of families, and pay bills? Do they know what it takes to actually live out the biblical commands to honor parents, honor God, and extend kindness to the poor? Do they realize there are people in the congregation trying to do this alone? Do they know how much independence that takes? And yet, pleasing God is a joy. If one aspires to rise to this occasion, why should the church discourage that by preaching against independence? The church has the unique role of not just teaching about sin, but also about instilling the values that empower and nurture growth. It should not tear down but build up, not discourage but encourage, not weaken but strengthen. After all, isn't encouragement the very reason we come to church? The very reason we are taught to gather together is for encouragement, isn't it? If, however, people come only to hear sermons every Sunday, opposed to independence, power, and success, how are they being equipped with the spiritual fortitude to rise to the everyday demands of life? Sunday gatherings should equip us for the work week, not zap our courage to face it. Living out our faith at work and in our family lives requires strength, intentionality, and a whole lot of courage. According to Proverbs, righteous people are naturally the most resilient. Rather than opposing that, shouldn't the church encourage resilience?